Greetings, citizens, and welcome to Cast, episode 17. We were in a very dark place, but now we have returned with more of your favorite Star Citizen. As a message to all Interstellar Security Solutions staff, we would like to remind you to gather in the Common Room at 1800 hours for a fanfiction reading by Greg. It will be played over the intercom as well, so there is no...
Yes. Hailus, everybody!
Welcome to Concast, where we discuss spaceships and dreams. Today is December 15th, 2943. Thank you for listening. I'm going to be your host, Kalis, along with my co-host, Connor.
Hey.
We have a lot of interesting things to talk about in the galaxy of Star Citizen today. Some topics we'll be going over is covering all of the stretch goals we missed and what you'll be able to expect in the future. We also have our normal cast and some new Concast discussion panel members, and we'll chat about a few topics. Some a bit controversial, but all interesting. And let's introduce our Concast panel today. First, we have Laser Angel.
I have to edit this afterwards.
Boojum.
Hello, everyone.
Vasago Rain.
I just got through 1 hour of MechWarrior Online.
Oh no.
Alex Wolf.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Alpha One.
It's good to fly spaceships again.
Darjeeling.
Hi.
Fugu.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Franchi.
That'd be me.
Jude.
Ever notice how I've never talked on a cast other than this part?
Kyogiri.
Hey?
Molasses Fats.
Hello.
Noblesse Oblige.
Really? Hey.
Protection.
Yeah, hello.
And finally, Whispers.
Hello, everyone.
Also up today, we'll be going over the organizational information we learned with the recent comlink, and we'll talk a little bit about the live stream on November 26th. And then finally, we'll go over all about the new patch that just dropped. Currently, on the webpage, we're at 331,081 Star Citizens. We're at 61% towards 35 million. So, we are at the home stretch, the end of the LTI. Basically, we've made $630,578 in the 24 hours after hitting 29 million. That's 1.5 million we've made on November 26th. While it is not the highest we have ever made, it is certainly significant. We have a couple of goals beyond 30 million. One thing that Chris Roberts said in one of the letters to the chairman, he mentioned everything after 30 million means they're going to hire additional artists and programmers, equipping the team with better development tools, increasing the size of the talented outsourcing groups, and being trusted with aspects of the Star Citizen's development. It means more actors and more time for mocap studios, more reference for designers, greater variety in game characters, more options in clothing, armor, and a large array of ship items and weapons. Also, one thing they added is they're letting people vote on the ships that were to be. I don't have a list of all the ships, but I'm going to talk about the ones that did make the cut. Fugu, you have something to say about this?
Yes, good riddance LTI, for instance.
Yep,
LTI,
fucking God for that.
Yes, thank God it's gone. LTI is a nice thing to have, but not really all that big. But what's really annoying about LTI is the forum that just explodes every time LTI gets thrown around it. It just makes for a shit forum, so I'm glad it's gone. Also, I think it's very good that they do not put any additional goals into the game and just say, okay, for every million we get, we just hire more people that are properly qualified. So I don't mind new goals being in there that are just, we will hire more people to actually make this happen in 2015, I believe it is. That's all I had to say.
Oh, Bujum, go ahead.
I think that two things. I wanted to echo what he was saying. I'm glad LTI is gone. It was a big distraction, and now we just have to make sure that CIG keeps it a small convenience like they'd always said it was going to be. But moving forward, he's clarifying here what the extra money is going towards. And this has been another big topic and concern that people have. It's kind of a balance between people thinking that their money is going towards nothing and people that are worried about feature creep. I think he's found a really good balance here because it's going towards generally improving the power of the studio to produce content without creating new features that expand the scope of the game much anymore.
I absolutely agree. I think getting rid of the LTI and clarifying what all this money's going towards really helps alleviate the community's concerns. Whispers, you had something to say.
Yes, so it seems like instead of actually expanding the game even further, it seems like this million will actually speed up the process at which all this content is actually made and brought together. So we might actually be getting, faster aspects of the data thanks to each additional million after the 30.
Well, that is possible, but one thing Chris is known for is scope creep and feature creep. These are going to be good things, I think, for Star Citizen. Hopefully they won't overwhelm his team, but he does keep growing his team, and in fact they are moving to new digs so they can hire more people. They have a bunch of people practically working from home right now, which kind of sucks, because they have no space in their Austin office, and that's where a lot of the work is done. Alex.
Yes, about the LTI. I'm personally glad it's gone. It was a huge draw for everyone, I'm pretty sure. Because it makes your first ship special. Those are your anointed champions, your starting Pokemon. They are important, they are unique, you have to have them. And even though they've been trying to downplay the importance of LTI as it was still there, scratching at people's brains, telling them, you want this ship in LTI, you will never get it again. I'm glad this pressure is gone. I was pretty sure that the grab deals will slow down after the LTI is no more, and maybe someone will show up at Chris Roberts' desk and tell him, hey, Mr. Roberts, you see, our profits are dropping, we need LTI back. But it didn't happen so far. I'm hoping it won't, because apparently they're still making money.
It definitely slowed down a bit, no argument there. And there's been a few things that have boosted it, but it did slow down.
House mats.
But as things normalize...
They are making money, right?
Oh yes, they're definitely making money. As things normalize, though, people realize LTI is not available anymore, and they'll feel more confident in buying the ships.
So I'm hoping they stick to their guns, their positions doesn't change from no more LTI, and they will just find another ways to make cash, and people will be so much more relaxed, so much more chill about their purchases. It's sure made the atmosphere better, to say the least.
I actually agree. I think LTI was one of those things that is always going to be a problem within the game, and they're always going to have issues with it. But it has made them a lot of money. Something about telling somebody they have the guarantee for the rest of the lifetime of their ship or their character, that's a big deal. That's a big deal to people. People pay a lot of money for that peace of mind. Darjeeling, you had something on this topic.
Just a privilege check here. All the people who have expressed opinions about LTI, we all have it for all our ships, so that's where we're coming from. Nobody else can have it now.
Yes!
That is true.
Not all of them.
Well, I know it's not that big of a deal. I absolutely want it for myself. It really is not going to be a big deal.
We say it's not that big a deal, but we have it, so...
We all
Yes,
wasn't
an option to buy without. What the
having
fuck
it
is
is
supposed to do?
Having it is
And you would
necessarily
have
better
totally
than not having
bought
it.
one without if you could, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That would have been okay either way.
Yeah, no. The lifetime insurance really did do it for me, I'll admit.
All right, moving on. Well, we have our new stretch goals. Well, we're old. We're catching up. The first one is the 28 million one. That's the new starter ship, and that's a new company, Consolidated Outland, bringing the Mustang in, which is another starter ship. It's a little more experimental, less stable, much more hot roddy. Kyo, you have something to say on the Mustang?
Yeah, I see the Aurora being more of the fighter and cargo transport, and the Mustang being more of an explorer and racer type and just going out there and exploring space. So I think that's kind of okay for a starter ship, since it actually covers more bases with the Aurora being fighter and all that, and the Mustang being exploration.
I always got the impression that the Mustang was more fightery. It feels like it is, and the Aurora is more about that stability. They've always likened it to a Jeep or an F-150. You know, something you can rely on, that first starter ship. Whereas the Mustang's for people who like to play it a little more fast and loose. But, you know, everybody has their own opinion on it. We haven't seen anything. I don't even think we've seen stats on it. Just the fluff right now. Protection, you had something to say about the Mustang.
Well, yeah, I actually think they should just go to 3 and have 3 starter ships, because, I mean, when you had just the Aurora, that was, like, a little boring. Everybody's going to be starting with an Aurora. Now you have 2, so you've got one that's kind of specialized to one role, one that's a little bit specialized to another. Why not get, like, a utility ship in there, something that might be a better miner, something that people can still begin the game with and start, you know, doing what they want to do. But also, you know, now you have this choice of 3 different starter ships. You've got some variety in there.
Well, I don't necessarily agree. The Aurora's whole thing, in fact, RSI's entire slant, as far as their marketing goes, is customizability. Their whole commercial for the Aurora is all about you can do whatever you want with it. It's not a specialist ship, whereas the Mustang seems a little more combat inclined. But you are right, more options the better. I do not have a problem with them throwing more ships out, because they need something for their ship people to do, because once they get past certain hurdles, they're not going to have much to do. Let's see, Fugu.
Yeah, that's really it. More options is better. It's really nice that if you start playing Star Citizen after you have finished the what is it, Squadron 42? I can't remember that number.
Yes, that is the name.
Squadron 42. After you finish that you have a choice of some sort. I mean, you have a choice of, you know, choosing to be a citizen or be a pirate, but having 2 ships as a choice really makes it a lot better. And that makes those guys who bought an Aurora even better, because apparently if you have an Aurora, you can make it what you want to have. And I believe that adding a Mustang in there will make those guys who have a Aurora LX be a little bit more special, because not everyone is going to have an Aurora from the get-go.
Well, I kind of liken the Mustang to like an 80s muscle sports car, you know, the IROC Z.
I hope so.
It doesn't quite hold together, but it'll be fast in a straight line kind of thing. Maybe it'll be a little more specialist. Boojum, you had something to say about the Mustang as well.
Yeah, beyond this being a new possible starter ship, it is the first revealed ship of an entirely new ship manufacturing company, Consolidated Outland. And it's really got some interesting characteristics for it. Kind of started by a trillionaire, but kind of a rogue one who's trying to do this away from everyone else, do his own thing on the rims of civilization. And we'll see how that goes. But it's going to be interesting having more flavors of companies in the mix.
Well, yeah, they did state that the spaceship market's kind of like our automotive market. It's hard to break into because of all the laws and such. So he's just kind of pulling a Tesla, really. You know, just I'm going to make a car and whatever. Alex, you had something to say?
I really like how Mustang is shaping up. Of course, I won't decide if I like it or not until I see the concept art. But the thought of an upstart businessman making a company who's thinking outside the box and adding the car that's basically the wild thing to Aurora's camper, I suppose. Because at the end of the day, Aurora looks like a hauler. and the other ship might be more on the wild side and, leather jacket, dark glasses in space. I'm sure it will appeal to a lot of people. It's a good move to add another starter. It lets you personalize your character from the start, even if you didn't purchase a bigger ship.
Yeah, I mean, we all look at it because we have our ships of choice. We've spent money. I mean, Kong's very gold. Our average spending is like $100 per person on average.
1,000 hair.
And we have some of us have gone even much further. But everybody has their ships that they want. But there's going to be a lot of people that have never even heard of this game because they don't advertise. So they're going to come in and they're going to have that starter ship. And everybody's probably going to have a ship they need to just grind away with. But we have Darjeeling.
I think the thing that most excites me is not only is this a new ship, it's an entirely new ship company. So we don't know what they're going to do in the future for this, but it would be nice. They now have another line, something that isn't, just Robert's Space Industries or
Origin, Aegis, and the like. Yeah, no, I really like the fact that there is another line. That we're going to see more of those stylo ships, those maybe throwaway ships almost. All right. Well, next we have the 29 million goal. That's the enhanced mission design for Squadron 42. And basically, the team at Foundry 42 has big plans for Squadron 42. That's the team that's run by Aaron Roberts, which is Chris's brother, who worked on Privateer and Privateer 2. They are making the single-player game. Well, they're focusing on it. And they're going to provide extra funding to make it a true spiritual successor to Wing Commander. And he wants to make it crazy, like just big, epic, blockbuster. From opening with an epic battle instead of a training patrol to missions that seamlessly combine boarding and space combat. We aim to put you right into the action. Additional funding will let the team realize this, and with enhanced mission design and more resources and animations to enhance fidelity. One of the things to note about their animations is they have their own mocap studio. It's not currently set up yet, but once they have it, the space for it, they're going to be able to put a lot of animations together. Alpha 1, you had something to talk about Squadron 42? Enhanced mission design?
Yes, actually, I would like to say that personally, Squadron 42 is one of the most exciting things, for me at least, for Star Citizen, because we haven't had a really good AAA campaign in Space Sims in, like, how many years now?
Well, we have some of those fan ones, like the Gold and that other Wing Commander one, but yeah, we haven't really had one in a long time. It's all
like,
been multiplayer,
it's
like Star
only
Conflict and those other games that
yeah,
are
it's
on
basically
Steam.
free space mods and arguably X series to a lesser extent. But we haven't had a real good campaign in years. So for one thing, it sounds like they're wanting to make it intense and exciting, like the old Wing Commander ones were. The only thing I worry about is the beginning, because I do think that you do need like a training to be able to train people to play the game.
They'll definitely put that in, but they want to make it a little more exciting, more action movie. Because remember, Chris is trying to bring his movie experience over to the gaming thing, and that's a good thing. He wants those big visuals, and that really pulls people in. That'll bring in the people, signing up to be Star Citizens.
Right.
He's not replacing training. He's just putting a neat battle before it.
All right. So, yeah, I just don't want people to get into the. I'm just a little worried about sending new people into the fray, because there is going to be some people who have never played Space Sims before coming into this game. So.
Well, it might just be a big cinematic. We don't know yet.
Yeah, that actually, if they do it as a cinematic, that might be fine. I'd be okay with that.
All right,
or maybe you're like a gunner instead of an actual pilot.
Possible.
Point.
God.
Noblesse, you had something to say about this?
Yeah, Squadron 42 has definitely been the thing that I actually pledged for. Not too interested in anything at first, anyway, because I thought it was going to be a lot more like Eve. But it turns out that's wrong. But Squadron 42 was the thing to look forward to. It's been so long since we had a very good single-player campaign in space. I mean, I spent easily over 100 hours on Freelancer, and I just cannot wait for Squadron 42. The fact that they're not just putting it at the wayside just for the multiplayer.
It's not going to be a battle, Call of Duty or Battlefield fucking throwaway campaign
Right.
or whatever.
No.
Well, this is like a majority of the players actually care about the single player more than the multiplayer, though.
Yeah,
there
are people. There are people that won't play the single player. There's going to be people that won't play the multiplayer. I mean, they're trying to give as much options as possible. That's what I love about CIG. They really go out of their way to give us options. And I think in the future you're going to see someone in Kong mentioned it, an a la carte basically buying. You're able to buy what you want. You can buy the single player experience. You can buy the multiplayer experience. And I think that brings a lot to the game. It sets up a precedent for the market rather than, oh, you're not going to spoon feed me all this bullshit I don't need. You're focusing on, you're giving me exactly what I want. Kind of like how on demand works for TV. People love on demand. People like paying for their songs from, iTunes or whatever that only they want to hear. Nobody wants to hear all the other bullshit that they don't want to hear. And that's a really good idea. Alex.
For a while, I got the feeling that computer entertainment was all about multiplayer. We were getting free AAA titles with like 4 hours long campaign, and later it was just maps on multiplayer. Everything had to be co-op, everything is better in co-op. I think people got tired at some point, and they came back to single player as the popularity of indie games shows. I'm glad we are getting a AAA title that recognizes the need for a good single-player experience. So thumbs up for that.
That's not being shipped out way before its time, but we are getting co-op in the single player, actually. You're going to be able to have people take control of your wingman and fly with you, if you want. It's a choice.
As long as it's a choice, I'm down.
Yeah, they can't just drop in. This isn't Dark Souls.
They can't invade you.
I thought they said that's how it's going to work, though. People could spawn in as enemies.
Originally, they mentioned they were thinking about something like that, but it got kind of pushed beyond, and the community took it out of context, and it's not how they're going to do it, though. It's a cool idea, but it could be totally used to ruin somebody's single-player experience.
Well, I mean, if you could choose to do it, if it was like a hardcore mode where you could actively let people join your game and attack you, that'd be fine. Just having it randomly to everybody would become a dick move, yeah.
Boojum?
Related to how in this goal they say opening with an epic battle, in the video where they talk about Foundry 42, the kind of sub-dev studio that's just working on Squadron 42, there's this video, Inside Cloud Imperial Games, Foundry 42. About a minute and a half in, they give us 2 shots of a draft of a script for a cinematic that is an opening on a big, massive battle. And you can actually look at these shots and read the script, and it actually looks really good. Not just what it implies about the cinematic direction, but also how they're developing the Vandal. That they don't seem to be just pushover, edgy monsters with spaceships. They seem to be enemies you can respect.
Oh, I agree. I love the shot of the set pieces and the basically all the effort they're going into. They're trying not to create that same story they've already created a billion times that everybody's done. And they're trying to make Vandal to be more than just faceless bad guys. They want them to be an enemy, maybe with motivations, a true alien motivations. But we'll have to wait to see about that. So moving on, we have 30 million. Next goal, the Origin 890 jump. And they're talking about in the fluff how they have a larger ship for Origin. It's a big super yacht. It's apparently really high-end, exquisite styling, and an array of high-quality upgrade options. Multiple decks, high visibility windows, and a small boat bay. We don't know what that means, but we're hoping it means another ship. And whether you're outfitting it to explore new worlds or take a pleasure cruise through Terra, the 890 jump is the epitome of luxury, class, and refinement. I absolutely want one of these. I'm a big Origin fan. But Fugu, what did you have to say about that?
I will buy one as soon as it gets possible. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this ship so goddamn much. If it looks anything, just a little bit as awesome as the 300 does, I will buy one as soon as I can get one. And if I will have to buy it in-game, that's the first purchase I will have to make. Because I really, really, really want to have a big yacht with giant windows and then just, I don't know, just cruise the pleasant places of the universe and just take a look at it. And, I don't know, just be fancy.
Knowing Origin, it's probably not going to be lightly armed. It'll probably have its own way of defending itself. I don't think it's just going to be a pleasure, you know.
No,
I mean, they sell the 300i as a businessman's ship.
What I'm really thinking about that is like the yacht that guy who owns Chelsea. What's he called? He's some really wealthy Russian, and he has a giant yacht, and it's it is
See,
not
your
only
English references don't work. Who owns Chelsea?
What? He does own the club Chelsea. He
I
does.
know, but
I don't know what that
we have
is.
no idea what you're saying.
I don't even know.
Well,
if it works in
anyways,
America.
I picture a yacht like that guy has that is armed, but it is still very much a luxury ship. So it can defend itself, but it is really for sightseeing and parties and so on.
It better have a bar and a jacuzzi.
Yes,
Go
it
Kitty.
absolutely has to.
The Origin 890 jump, yeah, it's going to be a luxury super yacht, but what I'm more interested in is its high quality upgrade options, what they're going to be, and all that.
They're going to cost you a lot of money.
Probably just extra fluff.
Space
Yeah, extra
jacuzzi.
fluff, but yeah, but I want to know what they are. Like, does it do larger engines, more cargo space, better weapons, or what?
Bigger
I
toilets.
don't think they know yet, to be honest. I think that is probably on their list of ships at the very bottom of ships they need to complete right now. They have a lot on their docket for ships they need to even start drawing up. Whispers.
I'm really glad that they added the jump this early. I mean, it's such an obvious non-combat, non-trading ship, and I think that adds like a lot. I mean, I have personally no interest in flying one, but it makes the world feel real when you see them, other people flying them around.
Yeah, it adds verisimilitude. I mean, you're not just seeing combat ships everywhere. You're seeing ships that do other things. I mean, we don't have too many ships that do that. You have the Aurora, which doesn't seem to be combat oriented. And beyond that, I mean, I can't really think of another ship that's just not built for combat in some form or way. Alex,
freelance.
what's your take on it?
Adding a luxury ship like the Jump kind of begs the question, how much Citizen is there in Star Citizen? Is it not just Star Soldier with some cannon fodder in other ship suckers flying around? Because I would really like it if you can lounge, explore. The moment Jump was added as the next pledge goal, there were many voices on various forums saying, you suckers, come on, just get into it. I'm gonna bomb you, and I'm gonna wreck you, and I'm gonna pillage you, suckers, and you'll lose your money. I don't want that. I really hope there will be a lot of citizenry in this game, and I would really appreciate it if Chris Roberts and his merry men send some information about it our way.
Well, they have to nail down the combat aspect. As Chris has mentioned multiple times, that if the dogfighting alpha, if that combat engine doesn't work, the whole game is probably fucked. And that is their key. Once they get that in, they can add in all the stuff. They have to make a lot of lore, though. They have to create this whole universe that didn't exist. So it's a lot of work. Vasago?
Yeah, I'm just gonna just echo what Alex said and say that I really want my own little pimp barge. And I'm not in my Hornets.
Laser?
All I know is that I wanted one the moment I saw it mentioned back when they talked about the 300i, and I wanted to trade in my Constellation for one if they had one on sale for LTI. Now, I still want to buy one in-game, but it's just not the same. But yeah.
Molasses.
I think a ship like this is one of those things in the game that you need to have. It's something that, like, regardless of whether or not it's stupid and useless, it's just something retardedly expensive that you can say, man, one day I'm gonna have this thing. Which is why I hope they never actually put it for sale, like, for actual money, because that completely destroys the purpose.
I absolutely agree with you.
This
I want
ship
it
is
to
a
be
trophy.
in-game only.
This ship should have no actual purpose other than being a trophy of like, hey, I'm better than you, I made more money.
Knowing Origin ships, I think it's going to be able to
It'll
defend itself.
it'll probably be able to
And-
like fight off things, but at the end of the day, like, it's a luxury ship.
Yes.
It's not. You're not going to be sending this thing into battle. And it's probably going to be
Agreed.
huge too, so it's probably going to be. It'll probably simply be too big for like a small ship to blow up in a reasonable amount of time.
If I had to guess, Starfarer size, maybe a little
Probably.
bit bigger. Darjeeling.
Going off what Molasses said, though, it should be in the game because it is stupid and useless and expensive, because that makes it feel more real. As Kayla said, it gives the game more verisimilitude. Because, in the real world, a lot of people buy yachts that are just obscenely expensive and serve no purpose other than just to be pleasure cruisers. And what Alex said earlier, too, is like, how many citizens are there? So far, I'm pretty sure like all the ships have at least one weapon on them, don't they? Or maybe the Starfarer doesn't. Does it have
No,
one? I
every
forget.
ship
Starfarer's got
changed.
missiles, man.
Originally, the ES didn't have, the Aurora ES had no weapons. They did add them later because they figured that would be stupid. Nobody's going to take a ship that's not going to have weapons on it. Even
but the point is, if you've got all these ships
to
flying
destroy
around
some
and they all have
asteroids that are
weapons.
coming your way or something,
Yeah, I don't know. But, like, weapons aren't the same as headlights, but in this universe, it's sort of like they are. Like, ships instead of cars and, laser cannons instead of headlights. But it is nice to have ships that don't have a set purpose, Like, so far, all we have are scavenging ships or exploration ships or racing ships or fighting ships. There are no ships that are just ships for ship's sake.
Well, it seems like the lore, rather UE, encourages their citizens to be armed because, pirates are everywhere. It's a big deal. But Alex, what did you have to say about the jump?
Ships have some sort of, means of defense is a given, of course, but the problem is you will never be able to fend off a determined specialized attacker of comparable size as a ship that only has a gun or two for shooting meteors. So it's not any kind of justification. What I mean to say is this. Anyone can imagine space combat. Anyone can imagine how space combat can be fun. Naturally, this is the point that has to be well ironed out. But I would really like to know what the idea is. How to make lounging fun. How to make exploring fun. What is the nebulous
one of the things
idea
they've
behind
mentioned
it?
for lounging is to invite your friends over, and they're going to have like games of chance, and they'll have little animations for people who like to RP, sit on the toilet, make fucking meals.
Spin the bottle.
You'll have a poker game, you'll have this, you'll have that. So there'll be things in there.
And
some
how
people
will you
just
be
like to see the sights,
protected?
though.
You're just
And
being
how
a
will
rich
the
cunt
system
and you're
protect
going to
you?
point at the plebs. That's what you're going to do.
Look how poor they are.
Look at those
yeah.
flying auroras. What are
Our
they
exhaust
doing?
is like
They
gold
fly
and platinum dust.
Yeah.
Get some money.
It's all fun and games
Platinum
until
does
there are
work
bombers.
You
Watch
poverty
me on my
struck
$5
bitches.
million $5 million
Alright.
UEC
Moving on.
spaceship. Yes.
31 million goal. We have the RSI Orion. Roberts Space Industries' goal has always been to make the stars available to individual citizens. Now with the RSI mining platform, RSI is letting individuals take over a process formerly controlled by mega corporations. The Orion's features include high-grade turret-mounted tractor beam arrays, durable exterior accessible saddlebags for mineral storage, and a cabin designed by the team that brought you the Aurora and Constellation. I assume that means it's going to be an open plan. Anyways, I really like the idea of this ship. Exploration being a focus. The fact that they're making a very specialist ship really changes how they're doing their ships. Because before this, almost every ship has multiple capabilities. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Alex, what did you have to say about the RSI Orion?
Again, I like the name, I like the idea, I just would like to know how it will be fun, because, well, fun is the prerogative, and I don't want to be just farming all day long in my ship and in space, and it's empty. Oh, here comes the pirates, I'm dead. Well, balls in the Robert's corpse, I guess.
Totally agree.
Kilgiddy?
Well, this is just my speculation, but I'm thinking that Orion is not going to have any weapons since it's a mining ship. It's just going to have mining lasers and tractor beams to take what you're mining. So I guess you're going to have escorts with you, so you could probably pay people for the escorts and all that. So that's probably going to happen a lot, I guess.
That's true. It is very possible. I mean, the ship is made specifically for mining and nothing else. It doesn't sound like it has much for, protective weapons. Alpha 1, what did you have to say?
First off, I'd like to say that the RSI Orion was actually a real big surprise to me. When I found out that the new ship is going to be what people wanted was a mining ship, I was like, well, that seems kind of strange because mining doesn't seem like it'd be that interesting an activity. But hey, what can I say? People love to mine. And
yes, we do have a large majority of people that seem to want to mine, and I can understand that. Everybody has their own particular form of thing that makes them happy in these games.
I think if
it doesn't
Go
work
ahead.
for me, but for others. Go ahead.
The last thing I'd like to say on this is the RSI Orion does actually what it does actually allow people to do is that it allows people to take control of the mineral gathering, of the resource process in a way that hasn't really been said that you could really do before. So it's going to be interesting seeing how that actually affects the in-game economy.
Yeah, they haven't given us a lot of information on that yet, but they're committed to making it fun more than just watching a bar. They've mentioned that multiple times. One of the things I'd like to point out is the RSI Orion, it's a strange choice that they made RSI a choice in the matter. I would expect Aegis or MISC. I did not expect RSI. Boojum.
RSI kind of.
I just wanted to point out that as far as the mining mechanics go, what we've been told so far, the people who are looking for kind of AFK style progress bar mining are probably going to be disappointed. We don't know the details yet, but they want to make this an active activity that requires some level of skill and specialization. Now, this ship obviously brings the specialization, and we'll talk more about specialization in general later. But it's going to be interesting seeing how this plays out. I don't think that everyone who thinks they want to mine is going to be happy with what Star Citizen decides mining can be. But I'm in the camp that wants it to be, something involved and not just kind of that's something you can tune out while doing.
It absolutely has to be active. I mean, I know Chris Roberts is a big fan of active money gathering. You can't just sit back, rest on your laurels, and let your minions or your NPCs do all the work. Fugu.
I'm kind of surprised that they did not have MISC make a ship for that, because that seems like a MISC thing. And I know I'm spoiling a topic that we're going to go there, but I really thought that the MISC ship would be the miner. That's kind of interesting, because it makes RSI make some kind of, I don't know, highly modular ships for pretty much everything.
It is a good point. I mean, like I mentioned before, I'm surprised they chose RSI of all the things, because they're all about, letting you do everything with your ships. That's what their commercials are.
I mean, people are already saying that the Constellation does pretty much everything, and even the smallest ship by RSI does pretty much everything rather good. I mean, you can take your Aurora and put some giant container on it to just deliver stuff, or you can put pretty much a lot of weapons on it for such a small ship. I mean, I don't know, RSI seems to be does everything, but, you can make them do everything.
I always liken them to Cyan XB. They allow you to just modify the shit out of your ships. But moving on, we have Molasses.
First off, when people talk about like how mining wouldn't fit in a game like this, I think like there are people out there that like to shoot, they like to explore, they like to RP, whatever they do. Some people like to just do menial labor in games. Something about it, it's more fun than it is in real life because you're not doing actual work. You're just clicking and looking there. They like filling progress bars, and I think that should be allowed. Like some people just like the simple aspect of collecting things and making things from the ground up.
But how are those people going to react when it's not a simple matter? When they have to pay attention, they can't just do it in their break or whatever.
They'll love it though. They love that.
But that's still fine though. That's still. I mean, it's not like active Twitch shooting kind of thing. Like fighting will be. Like it'll take some brains to do. Like hopefully, but it's still enjoyable. It's very passive.
It seems to
like
me
you're just sitting there.
The compromise would be to make it so that you could do it very lazily and then collect it slower, or do it something that requires some skill, some involvement, and then you get more. It's more efficient.
Well, if we do it slower, that'll just make it easier to bot, though. But I feel like no matter what's going to happen, this game's going to have botting. Every game has botting. It's just a simple fact.
Yeah, no argument there. Connor?
As someone who's come from an MMO where production was our sole purpose in our guild, I find that mining is not what most people expect it to be. It's not about just filling a bar. What it really is about is finding precious material. Things where people would think no value would be. In Star Wars Galaxies, not only could you find raw material and turn it into something extremely valuable in the flick of a button, but the more you tended to that material, it produced the superior items. You could buy materials from just any vendor, but it would be inferior to anything you could possibly make if you put blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's one of the aspects that make mining so lucrative. The thought that, hey, I can take this asteroid and turn it into the best carrier as long as I put all of my hours into it, I focus, and I get all the best material and resources for this project. But of course, it's going to require men. It's going to require more than just one piece of material. You're going to need a lot of Orions to do this, but still, it's that temptation, the idea that you could make a top-tier PvP Bengal or God knows what out of the materials you collect from the Orion, and it's that temptation that drives them.
Well, that is a good point. I mean, one of the things Connor mentioned is you have different materials, and that's going to go hand in hand with exploration, because you're not always going to have the right materials. One thing I'd like to point out, though, we are not going to be allowed to make hulls, only equipment, just to make sure. They have stated that time and time again. But that is a really good point, Connor. Moving on, we have the next goal, 32 million. We have the Aegis Surveyor. And that's from Aegis. Apparently it's an industrial quality salvage ship, and it's equipped with a reinforced cargo bay, a long-range jump drive, and launch pods for unmanned drones. The Surveyor is an ideal ship for taking advantage of deep space wrecks, tractor beams, floodlights, scanner options, and docking ports to round out the tool chest on this capable utilitarian spacecraft. Now I'm very excited about this ship. I will definitely pick one up because I like to explore. And a lot of this stuff sounds interesting. Floodlights and tractor beams and all the scanner options. This is really cool stuff here. And I think that if they do right, exploration will be a lot of fun. Hopefully it won't all be found within month 1, but we'll have to see what happens. Noblesse, what's your take on the Aegis Surveyor?
Well, we were sincerely lacking of salvage ships, to be completely honest. The best thing that we would have been able to do would be tear apart something that we find out in the wilderness, out in the dead of space, pick it apart and bring it back piece by piece, or have an entire Congo line of people just dragging a ship and be very open to being attacked by pirates or what have you. I think it's a really good idea that we have a salvage ship to actually use, because that's going to be a very large part of the game. We're going to be able to go out and find ships of, pilots that died. A battle took place here, and there are a bunch of scrap metal ships just hanging around.
That's probably going to be a job for people to, scavenge instances. I wonder if they're going to allow that. I don't know. That's interesting. If you really think about it, is that going to be a thing where you're going to be able to go over, big battles and stuff with your little surveyor? I don't
Well,
know.
that's what I would hope, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a very small ship, to be completely honest.
No, a salvager couldn't be. No, it
Right.
has to have space to, bring the salvage in. Not to mention that we also had one of the previous goal where they're going to make the exploration game a lot deeper. Alien hulks, big wrecks. You're going to find things like probably salvage yards and things along those lines. Whispers.
Yeah, this is actually probably one of the most exciting ships that they announced, and not just because the possibility of adding, I guess, kind of innovative gameplay to space sims. Not really, you couldn't really play just a salvager before in any other games. But the other thing that they mentioned is the unmanned drones. As far as I know, before the idea was Chris said that basically he wanted every ship to be manned, and unmanned drones are not really a thing. This is kind of a change of direction, and I'm kind of surprised and I guess pleased.
Oh, it's an absolutely good point. The drones, he did state he did not want drones of any types. I think somebody had mentioned it to one of the devs, and they mentioned that the drones were going to be more for sensors than anything. They're not going to be armed. They're not going to do anything. That's kind of what the P-52 is supposed to be about, to extend the range of the constellation with its sensor net. But we'll have to see. But that is a good point. Let's see, Alex?
I love the idea. The space scavenger is such a well-rooted in human conscious space trope.
It screams Alex.
Just scavenging through battlefields, crawling over some kind of derelict carrier or battleship, maybe cleaning the orbit of some planet from space trash. It's all. This just screams space romance in a very subdued but still very noticeable way. I really, really like it. How come Aegis makes such good stuff?
Well, Boojum.
As far as the salvaging thing goes, I'm excited about the possibilities too. And depending on how deep salvaging itself is, which seems like it's going to be pretty deep given how the ship equipment is pretty extensive, you can actually have several scavenging roles. I mean, there's not just the exploring and finding derelicts, but from my extensive experience of casually watching nature documentaries once in a while, as far as scavenging corpses goes, there's different niches that people can take, or animals, or whatever. There's the people that get there first and just take whatever they can quick. There's the big ones that come in force and take everything they want until they're done. And then there's the ones that pick over whatever's left. And depending on how this works out, we could see all three of those roles actually filled for big enough wrecks.
That is true. That is true. Alpha One, you had something?
Yes, I was going to ask a small question for everybody here. When you first heard of the description for the Aegis Surveyor, did anybody else think back to that first episode of Firefly when they are just skirmishing through the wreckage of an old derelicted freighter?
No, we weren't, because nobody watched Firefly. That's why it was cancelled.
Ah.
Thank you.
Wow, that's some fighting words there.
Damn it. And
I happen to actually like
Yes, I did.
Firefly, and yes, I think a lot of people did. And I think actually CIG did as well, because they're big fans of Firefly, as we know.
So I think that, for the people who are wanting to live out their dreams of being Captain Malcolm Reynolds, well, you have your ship now.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about the Firefly show that I liked, and I don't want to get too off topic here, is that it had no weapons. It could not really defend itself. And it was an interesting take on sci-fi that really hasn't been done too much.
Yeah, I didn't like this show, but I did like that aspect of it.
Interesting is the little shit, the sister of shit, we say in Germany.
Connor, what did you have to say about the salvaging ship?
A surveyor's job is primarily to survey. These ships aren't just going to be salvaging. They're also going to be taking samples of locations, scanning things, getting a good idea before someone goes into an area and possibly hauls something even bigger.
Well, we do have another ship for that, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the Salvager, I think, is more about taking advantage of the wrecks they find and looking for wrecks within, large asteroid fields and such. Francie.
About the about the salvaging and the salvage mechanics, somebody mentioned, the guys that get there first and the next guys, and the next guys. There's also, in maritime tradition on Earth, salvage rights that are internationally recognized. So if I'm the first person who dives on some wreck in the Caribbean and I pull up information on the ship and I identify the wreck, I can then state that I own that wreck. And I'm wondering if they're going to do something similar, and then if you can illegally salvage a wreck that somebody else owns and black market those goods.
That's a good point. I think they're going to
I'm
follow
really excited about
international waters law, where
but you
whatever
think about it,
happens,
it's the same.
happens.
It's the same thing, though. I mean, when you think about it, you've got ships and in space and salvage and transporting goods across space instead of water. It's very similar.
That's true. That's true. Laser, what did you have to say about the Aegis Surveyor?
I just have 2 words: aggressive salvage.
Oh, forgot about that.
Moving on, 33 million. We have the Anvil Carrack. The Anvil Carrack has been a vanguard of every UE exploration effort in recent years. It features reinforced fuel tanks for long-duration flight, a highly advanced jump drive array, and a dedicated computer core room that allows it to put the maximum processing power into jump charting operations. Originally a military exclusive, the Carrack is now available for civilian use as a Pathfinder spacecraft. Features onboard accommodations to allow for truly self-sufficient flight, including crew medical and repair facilities, and a mapping-oriented sensor suite capable of always charting a route home. It's interesting they point out that it has medical facilities. I don't believe any other ship has medical or repair facilities. I thought that was pretty interesting. Noblesse, what did you have to say about this exploration ship?
Well, it's the same stuff that I have to say about all sorts of exploration ships. Normally in sci-fi you would generally see, and especially here, because I believe that's how it is, you have to be able to navigate a slipstream. If you're going through a wormhole, you have to be able to navigate through it. And it does provide an interesting balance between a larger ship able to actually see further and have more time to adjust, and smaller ships that'll go faster but have a lot more leeway in actually moving.
That's true.
The fact that it has all these accommodations, crew medical and repair, mapping-oriented sensor suite, definitely keeps up with the same expectations I have for exploration.
It's interesting. One thing we do know about the jump points, or navigating the unmapped jump points, is that it's going to be a skill-based system. I'm wondering if the sensors are going to help you, or a smaller ship. Like, we really don't know exactly what's going to happen. They likened it to piloting a twisty tunnel that constantly changes, and it's going to be very difficult and very dangerous. But we'll have to see. Alpha 1?
All right. Yes. So the Anvil Carrack. To be honest, I was really surprised that this was actually going to be Anvil's ship. I guess some people expressed surprise with the Orion being an RSI ship, but really the Carrack seemed really out of place, considering what we know about Anvil thus far. They've built fighters and bombers. They haven't really talked much about exploration ships.
Well, they are a military contractor, Anvil,
right.
And obviously exploration is a big deal for the military, so...
Fair enough.
Well,
but
exploration
it seemed
calls
like
for
it
a lot
would
of those
have been an
things.
Aegis thing to do. Don't get me wrong, salvage is definitely an Aegis thing to do as well, but it seemed a little surprising when I first saw it. I was actually expecting Drake or something.
Some of the choices they made were kind of interesting, but I like that they kind of surprised us. They gave us something we didn't expect, and I'm hoping there's more of that.
So I'm going to be interested in seeing how this extended range jump drive is going to work. What I really am going to be really curious about is how they're going to do the subspace tunnels.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
mean,
cool.
I think we're all waiting to see it, but I'm sure it'll be visually stunning. Boojum, what did you have to say about the Anvil Carrack?
One thing I found really interesting about the description is this dedicated computer core room. In other places, we've heard the idea of CPU cycles being really, really important for things like targeting and various automation things. So this goes back to the idea of the computing capacity of your ship being an important facet of its ability that really we haven't heard a whole lot about, but it seems like it's going to be very interesting.
Absolutely. Fugu?
Yeah, so pretty much what we're getting is the Enterprise here. Or what we're getting promised here is, you know, it's a big ship with medical base and all that. I think of this goddamn Enterprise, really. I don't know what other people are thinking of that ship, but to me it's pretty much like that.
When you
have a
say
small
Enterprise,
crew.
are you talking Star Trek?
I'm talking Star Trek, yes.
Okay, I don't necessarily agree because the Star Trek was it was the flagship. That would be more along the lines of what the Bengal is. It was supposed to be
but
the biggest ship.
It was the star. It was the important ship in going out there, in exploring, in meeting other life forms and all that.
I would agree about the first Enterprise warp-capable ship, but the rest of them were just massive floating cities that did everything. They weren't necessarily exploration ships so much as everything ships.
Well, yeah, but who's counting all those other Star Treks?
I'm talking about the very first one with the intro roll with all the previous Enterprises. That show.
Yes.
All right.
Proper Star Trek.
Enough of this.
Like that. Like
Stop
making
it.
contact.
Nerds, bad nerds, bad.
Go
Alex,
out there.
Down.
Okay,
We're
moving
done.
on.
I'm getting rapidly unpopular right now.
Just relax.
Let's move on, okay?
No
Alex,
Star
you
Trek.
had something to say about the Anvil Carrack?
In a spacefaring society, I imagine it wouldn't be that strange that military is very interested in exploration. And yes, I guess in Star Citizen, general public using the military hand-me-downs is just what is being done. So I'm done with that. The thing is, and I'm repeating myself again, what is exploration? How is it fun? I mean, just like Salvage, I think a lot of depends on world building. Will they be able to make a convincing, exciting galaxy with sights to see besides blackness? I'm looking forward to it because, again, this is space romance right here. Amazing possibilities. I hope they don't mess it up.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Well, the next ship we had was the Discreet ship, the Smuggler, which I don't think necessarily was popular among Kong. We were interested to see it, but anyway, its description is it's the MISC Hull C. As we know, they have an A, B, C, and D. They're various cargo hulls. The MISC ranges of hulls are the standard goods transporter in human space. Extremely configurable, MISC hulls can be adapted for almost any type of transport job, from standard bulk shipping on the patrolled space lanes to armored cargo hauling on the frontier. While these pre-configured hulls are primarily used for legitimate purposes, the MISC hull Cs have recently become the favorite for criminals who modify the ship with advanced sensor shadow technology, quick decompress holds, and a variety of hidden compartments without modifying the ship's body, so it'll appear to onlookers as a standard everyday transport. This is an interesting ship, although if there's only one smuggling ship, everybody's going to know what it is.
Am I the only one who at first thought, you know, when you heard the A, B, C, D hulls, my first thought was just like Wall-E and the giant Wall-A's, Wall-B's. And I'm just envisioning this gigantic box full of cargo just floating around space like a giant Borg cube or something.
I did see the A, B, C, and D of MISC hulls being like those standard boxy cargo containers, which are just a bunch of containers with engines on the back. That's what I expected.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of the ones from like the cargo haulers from X-Wing, if anyone remembers those.
Fugu.
I was one of those people who were shouting the loudest about how stupid it is to have a dedicated smuggling ship. And I was really thinking that Drake would be the one who produced it, so I was like, oh, right, a Drake ship made for smuggling. How goddamn stupid is that? Because everyone is going to see that ship and be like, oh, they're smuggling. You might as well just write, I am smuggling on the side of the goddamn spaceship. But then I heard that it's going to be produced by MISC, and it's going to be like a standard freighter, pretty much. So even though you're not smuggling, just, I don't know, you just want to have some merchant ship or something, you can take it. It kind of made sense. So CIG really surprised me, because I thought that that would be the most stupid idea you could come up with, and they made it kind of work. I'm really dumbfounded here.
I like what Sting said in the chat here. It's the MISC white van. I like that idea. All right. Whispers, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree here with Fubu. I'm at first I thought it was retarded, but I guess the idea that the implementation that they have done is pretty solid and should work. One of the things that they mentioned is the advanced sensor shadow technology. I'm very curious about what they're going to do with how radar works, how the sensors work, how you hide what it is that you are,
Actually,
what sort of ship
we
that you
know
are.
a lot about that. One of our favorite designers, Pete McKay, gave some really detailed explanations on how they intend to do it. And they're doing a lot of it how real life works, how you're going to have sensor noise, how I will actually add the links into the into the notes, and you can take a look at that. It's really interesting, and it's very detailed, like almost to the point where you're going to almost always need somebody just sitting on the sensors, so you know what the hell's going on.
I mean, that's a great idea, because that really will add a whole lot of depth to the game. It's not just oh there's a ship and there it is, and you know what it is and who they are, and that's the whole
information
ambiguity.
warfare.
And exactly, information warfare. Control of information.
No, we promised we wouldn't talk about this.
It's just gonna be wonderful.
It's too late.
Alex, what did you have to say about the MISC white van? It's the white van. Sorry, that's what it is now.
It's a very petty complaint, perhaps, but is that its name? I mean, it's produced by a company that's partners with aliens, and it's called HAL. That's nice creativity there,
It's
I
a
guess. Very
classification,
inspiring.
though.
It's a classification.
Because they're
now.
probably
HAL
just
plus
boxy and
plus
stuff.
some letter.
You really don't know how Japanese companies work, do you?
Yeah, they're
It
absolutely
doesn't
are.
Not
really
every
tickle
single
my
one of them is
imagination,
like
to
the
be honest.
Dodge Ram or whatever.
Listen, without getting too off topic, vans are just like 2,500, 3,500. That's all they have. They're just some quick labels. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, their other products are called Starfire and Freelancer. Those are like, they sound like names.
Those are
HAL
specialty
is a
ships.
part
It depends on who they're marketed to. I mean, these are commercial ships, so it doesn't matter that you buy 1,000 of them for your giant space corporation. So why would they need a they're not really targeted at individuals.
Calling it HAL is kind of weird. It's like BMW is, they number their cars, and you got the 3, the 5, the 7, and so on, but they don't call it car 5, car 6,
Fair
Like,
enough.
There's the
No.
Mitsubishi
Real
Fuso
quick, though.
trucks that are like everywhere. Those are named. They do not have fancy names.
Really quick though, let's look
It's like
at the name of the
FE
company.
125
MISC.
and-
I think they couldn't think of a name for the company. They said, let's just call it Miscellaneous Company. And it
Yes.
probably stuck.
That's what I always think about when I hear that name.
And I love that idea.
Chaos. Listen up. It's actually it's the company is called Musashi something, right?
Yes.
Industrial and Star. What's the name for? Musashi what?
I'd have to look it up.
It's miscellaneous. That's just
It
what
is-
goes
it
by
is-
now.
It is our Acme. Come on.
So
It is.
Musashi is a
Just
Japanese.
let's take that and then just
Musashi-
run with it.
Musashi is a Japanese last name, and this one is on the money because Japanese love puns. especially bad puns, especially in companies. They hit this one out of the park. A
All right.
Japanese brand company with a pun name, brilliant.
All right.
All right,
Well,
the
our
name of
resident
the-
moon specialist says it's brilliant from the Japanese perspective. All right. Next, we have Noblesse talking about the MISC Hull C.
Alright, now look at how they actually showed it off. The MISC range of cargo hulls A through D are the standard goods transporters in human space. They're configurable, but that just might mean that they're configurable on the inside. So what we might actually see is a MISC ship, but we won't actually know that it's a MISC C. We'll see a MISC ship, it could be hull A through D, but we won't actually know which classification it is unless
I
we
got
actually
the
get a
impression
deep.
that the classification
look.
actually would indicate the size, because they said the Ds are the biggest.
Yeah, me
Those
too.
are going to be your super tankers. I really think they're just boxy ships with engines, or something very close to that.
Well, it could very well be that way, but if they had managed to make it say the B and C are relatively the same size, it makes it a lot harder to just say, oh, that's a hull C, he's probably smuggling something because that's the only reason anyone would want to buy that ship. And that goes ahead and circumvents the entire problem of people already knowing that somebody is going to be smuggling with it. Pirates aren't going to be looking at it that much, it's just another ship. But if they were smuggling in it, pirates would look into it more. So instead of just having a ship classification be obvious, the B and C might just be almost interchangeable, and you'd have to get much closer and put yourself into more danger, figuring out exactly what they have inside that ship.
That is true. Let's see, Alpha 1, what did you have to say about the MISC white van?
Are we really calling it that?
I like it.
All right.
Yes, we are.
So the thing is, with the white van that people are calling it, let's think about it from the opposite end. What are the legal uses? What are the legal reasons that people would actually want to use something like a discrete hull? What I've been mulling over for a little bit now is that perhaps it's to prevent people like pirates from knowing when they're transferring stuff like valuable equipment, like gold or something. If you were carrying even legitimate material that was highly valuable, and you could just get easily scanned, as long as the UEE can scan it, then it's not a big problem. But if
I don't
everyday
think
citizens
anybody
can scan it,
be easily scanned. There's going to be skill and sensors and all sorts of factors involved. I don't think anything
right.
as far as sensors are going to be easy.
Right.
Some are going to be better than others, though, for sure.
So it's
Right.
pretty much just like a regular
It's
truck.
basically
You see thousands of them. They pretty much all of them carry legitimate stuff, but some just have, you know, some boxes of
bodies, like
stereos, and behind that it's crack. Just
Guys,
pure
but
crack.
Well,
wouldn't a
sometimes
pirate
it's just
shoot
gold.
you up anyway?
Or gold,
No,
yes.
if you want to play it low key, you don't go around shooting everything. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of
Oh, yeah.
smuggling.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Smugglers
Han
If
Solo.
you've got hot property,
They're just trying
you
to
do
blend.
not want to attract attention.
No
Unless you're Han
attention.
Solo, in which case that's your modus
Darjeeling
operandi.
would know this for a fact.
Kalis, don't tell me you've never tried to smuggle in some ingredients to the country. Because, you know.
No, I have not.
Oh, bullshit. You haven't brought back like a sausage from France or something. Fucking liar.
All right. One thing I'd like to point out, maybe we could turn this into a Q ship. Maybe you could use those hiding scanners to, hide a team of Marines or a bunch of weapons or something. Because we have not seen a Q ship yet. I would like to see one of those. That would be really cool. And a MISC hull would be perfect for that, since you're going to be one of those. I see them every day. For those of you who don't know, a Q ship is something that acts like a trade ship, but it's armed to the teeth and ready to take out whatever comes at it. It's almost like a bait ship. Protection.
Well, the one thing, and I already see someone in chat who's kind of eager for it, but my kind of complaint is that the next 3 ships that people are going to be demanding on the forums are now going to be Hull A, Hull B, and Hull D. And it just seems like, okay, now we're going to have to model these, like the bigger one and the smaller one and the even smaller one.
Well, they're going to have to be modeled anyway. They did say they're going to have them there,
In-game.
but not available. Because the Ds are going to be there, but they wanted to keep the Ds out of the players' hands because they
Kind
wanna
of like they had
control-
to do the jump because they said in the 300 brochure that they had a bigger ship.
Yeah,
so they
there
had
are
to
other
do
ones
it
they have to do
eventually.
too. The Hornet, or sorry, the RSI is going to have to do the Black Widow, which was going to possibly take the military contract, and that's their fighter ship. And there's a bunch of other ships too that we know about as well.
For sure, but I mean, you're immediately going to get players demanding to be able to fly the Ds and the As. Just
Yeah, but I believe they knew that, so...
One thing someone pointed out to me, that we missed a ship, or rather I did, since I'm in charge of this.
Yeah, since this is your cast.
The 33 million ship. That is going to be the Drake Herald. And that is the information runner. It's the one we knew the least about, and I was interested because I was curious as what they're going to do. And this is the ship. Knowledge is power, and one of the most valuable commodities is pure information. This is important in the Star Citizen universe because they don't have FTL communications. So they only have communications as fast as people can get the information to them via drones or ships. The ones and zeros behind everything from UEC ledgers to citizenship ratings, whether it's colonists struggling to stay in contact with the UE Central Worlds or criminals trading in illicit data, there'll always be a need to securely move data. The Drake Herald's small armored ship is designed to fit that need and safely get the information from point A to point B, featuring a powerful central engine for high-speed transit and generating the power needed for effective data encryption, containment, advanced encryption software with an armored computer core. The Herald is unique among personal spacecraft in that it is designed to be easily cleaned when in danger of capture. The Herald includes an array of heavy-duty internal options for data protection, including redundant power subsystems and EMP shielding, and a high-powered broadcast array for data transmission. Now I'm learning that SIG likes the word array. They use it in all their descriptions for all their ships. Francie, what did you have to say about the Drake Herald?
The wrong company is building this ship. This is just it's totally out of character for Drake. They build low-tech, brutish solutions that are also slightly off color in that they can also perform illegal acts. Now this can do illegal things, smuggling information, stealing information, all that, but they don't do high tech. And it just seems like we picked the wrong company to build the ship.
Base anonymous.
In the latest jump point, they stated that Drake was building their ships a certain way. Pirates picked them up because they were good solutions for them. They didn't actually do that on purpose. So they were trying to be legitimate, but they just found that pirates made them a lot of money, so they're like, all right, then we'll just keep creating pirate ships.
It's like how someone was talking about earlier. We all totally expected the smuggling ship to come from Drake.
Yeah.
But I think what they're showing us is that in this universe, this is a living, breathing universe, and in real life, no one company just goes and says, okay, we're going to make pirate ships and we're only going to make fighter ships. And no, you got to diversify. And Drake is a company just like any other company. And so I don't think it's out of character for them to build, this information running ship.
Yeah, I mentioned that I was thinking that Drake made that, and because I really like the MISC stuff,
No,
because
we
I
all
like
thought
their
Drake was gonna
designs.
make a
I
smuggling ship
really
because it
thought,
fits.
like, no, I'm not going to vote for smuggling because I want another MISC ship, and I was wrong. That's really a happy surprise.
I agree. I'm glad that they're outguessing us, so to speak.
Yes,
Alex,
they are.
They metaplayed us.
When I hear Drake made information runner, I cannot help but imagine an M50 with a goatee. Also, does cleaning the ship quickly include the pilot? That's what I also have to wonder.
press the clean button and the radiation will take him out.
Is there a hyena pit somewhere below the chair?
The cleansing flame.
No survivors.
Jokes aside, jokes aside, it kind of makes sense that well, pirates and drug lords and whoever would have a need for a ship that probably can scout in a pinch, and yeah,
Sounds
it
like
can
you got a
bring
comic to
missiles or
make, my
anything.
friend.
The Hyena Pit? Well, balls in the RSI's court, I suppose. I'm waiting for the concept art.
All right, Alpha 1.
All right. Yeah. So this pirate ship that we've all gotten pretty much out of fucking nowhere turns out not to be so much of a pirate ship. In fact, it seems like at one point in its lifetime, it might have actually been used by the UEE and other such fanciful folk for actual legitimate purposes.
Well,
Not
they've
that it's
stated time and time again that the Drake ships are used as basic, cheap local system defenders. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of the local law enforcement will use them. So, cutlasses, for example. So it's not just, every
Yeah.
Drake's going to be a pirate ship.
Yeah.
That would be a bad way to do things.
I think Geek Domo pretty much summed it up most poignantly when he said that if Anvil produces Hummers, then what Drake produces is Hondas.
Well, we'll just have to see. Next, the next one is a bit controversial, at least among Kong. We have the Tamsa system. This is where they move from ships onto locations and features of the universe that they want to put in, kind of like put them in order of how they want to do them. And located near the fringe of Banu space, Tamsa's system features a massive central star that has collapsed into a black hole. Evidence suggests that there are at least 2 more planets in the system where the star collapsed before the ensuing black hole engulfed them. Only 2 planets remain in the system, Chthonian world and a gas giant located far from the black hole's event horizon. Initial surveys indicate that the 2 outer planets are slowly being pulled towards the black hole, leaving the 2 as a risky proposition at best for any sort of colonization. Now, this is an interesting way that they chose to do the black hole that was chosen, but beyond that, all I gotta say is about the black hole is that it sucks. But, Kyogarity, what do you have to say about this particular choice?
Who in their right mind would vote for this? Well, the only reason I could think of is they're probably thinking of a way to, capture people and then shoot them out the airlock right into the black hole to dispose of the body, just to fuck with people. That's the only idea I can come up with why people would want this.
I believe Kongling had come up with a way, it's a place to store Greg's ships. Alpha 1.
Well, on one note, at least Kong can change its modem of operandi from tossing people into the sun into tossing people into a freaking black hole. On a slightly more serious note, I think the big thing that motivates people to want to see a black hole in game is nobody's ever tried to do a black hole in a video game, not in any serious fashion. So it's sort of like, oh my god, what can the CryEngine make out of a black hole? Something that is
still gonna be stupid.
so exotic and so rare in the universe.
And it's over. There goes your ship. There goes you. You're done.
Right,
Next
but
character.
It's something different, something we've never seen before. And I think that's what interests people in it. Not so much to be honest, the only thing that really surprised me about it was that after all the hype for Operation Pitchfork, nobody voted for the Vandal encampment.
All right. Next we have Whispers.
So people have been getting pretty worked up about these choices, but I gotta say, in the end it doesn't really matter because every single location on that list is going to be in the game in some way or another, and at some point or another. So
yes.
This is just kind of like making content for people to talk about, but not really nothing's really going to change.
Laser, what do you have to say about the Tamsa system?
I don't find black holes really that interesting. It's just a large object, well, a massive object with a strong gravitational pull, and
like your
that's
mom.
Yeah, it's gonna be like it's like orbiting the sun. You don't want to get too close, you get burned. You don't want to orbit a black hole too closely, otherwise you'll get pulled in and you aren't coming back out. The other, like as with the ships, they sort of started narrowing down the choices. I'm sure once we once we eventually hit more stellar system choices, they'll start narrowing them down from we start off like 10 or 12, and they cut them down pretty quick for the ship one. I'm expecting these to get cut down pretty quick too.
Yeah, they always take out the lowest one and, they move on to the next one. Though it's interesting, every time they go, you would think that the highest of the last one would be voted next, but it doesn't work that way. It's like everybody just has a reset and decides on something else. So it's interesting. I mean, the black hole, it's okay, but I don't know. There were so much more interesting choices. Next, Fugu?
I just don't know what they're going to make with the black hole as far as interesting shit goes, because pretty much every black hole has been a sun at some point. And unless there's a giant gas cloud that gets sucked up by a black hole, you don't see it, actually. So it's pretty much just like a regular star system. The planets will not fall into it. They will just circulate around it like they do with the sun, only difference being that there is no sun to provide heat and, life to the planets and light. And so I don't know what they're planning to do with this. People have been saying,
guys, just because you can't think of a way to make black holes interesting doesn't mean that Christ Roberts won't think of a way to make it interesting.
I hope really.
I will give you the benefit of the doubt, Darjeeling.
Honestly, I hope he can do something interesting with it.
With candy.
But what all people have been saying is like, oh, it's a place to just throw bodies into and such. But that's what a star does also. You can throw shit at the sun and it will disappear, so...
Now, is it? So, checkmate, motherfucker.
Yeah, but it burns,
the ultimate evidence removal. Toss it into a black hole.
I don't know. I would much rather throw some... I would much rather throw some sucker and his spaceship into a burning ball of gas than into just some void that is ambiguous.
That is Kong's normal method of removal.
Also, if you throw them into a black hole, you will still see them because they technically never reached that. You know what I mean?
You know what? Just believe in Christ Roberts. Right?
All right, I will do so.
Moving on. We do have one more goal that is not quite there yet, but it seems to be the oh shit.
The stellar graveyard.
Yes, the interstellar graveyard. And the interstellar graveyard is an interesting idea. I think it could be done cool because it might be like a lost civilization where there's no stars, or I mean it could be a lot of things. It depends on if they take the actual astronomical meaning of an interstellar graveyard or take some artistic license. Though I do expect them to take a lot of artistic license. Protection.
Well, just continuing that thought, I mean, the obvious, fantastic interstellar graveyard I'm sure a lot of gamers immediately think of is the one from Homeworld, which has these, like, super massive, almost beyond any kind of sense of scale, remnants of ancient, massive ships. It's beautiful and stunning as a set piece, and it could make for a really cool setting in Star Citizen.
Oh, absolutely. Fugu?
I believe that many people who voted for Interstellar Graveyard really thought about lots of broken spaceships flowing around to just loot them and explore them, but some guy in the forums pointed out that an actual interstellar graveyard is more like just a shit ton of dead suns in the astronomer sense.
Yeah, but it could have had like a civilization there, or an alien spaceship, or just something.
Absolutely, it could have.
But like
to
a
me,
planet cut
seems...
in half or something, and or you see two planet halves, and you're like, "What the fuck happened here?"
Right, I would love that, but to me, it seems like a lot of people have been voting for something that they do not actually know what they have been voting for. I feel
true. Everything though.
That's true.
Yes,
that's true.
It is, and I kind of hate that because. Really, a lot of people were voting for that, and they thought, oh, it's, I don't know, just some place where battle happened and a lot of dead ships are there, and it means something different. It's just...
I think that
Fugu, Fugu, not knowing what you get, not knowing what you're voting for, is kind of par for the course with Star Citizen, I would say.
Yeah, like none of the game is out yet. We're
It's a
all
big grab
voting
bag,
for our
man.
fantasies.
I don't think they know yet.
Yeah,
So-
but still.
Nobody's-
Like,
but
what
still,
do you
just
suggest they vote for then?
Well, this hinges on the old debate of realism versus, what's fun. And, I mean, do we want a realistic space graveyard, or do we want the one that we all imagine would be really cool to explore?
A realistic
Of
space
course I
graveyard,
would
so
like
the
something-
ones that already exist, right?
Let's go for
Of
fun.
course, I would love something that is actually really interesting, but I don't know. There might be people out there who thought, "Oh, a space graveyard is going to be some place on some planet where I don't know, just a real graveyard is."
Well, we didn't know much about the other ships either. Like, we didn't really know what a fucking information runner meant or a smuggler ship meant in the SC universe. So, it's the way they're doing it. I think they're just kind of making it up as they go along too.
Yeah, but
kind
with
of
the-
like with other ships.
With the smuggler ship, I get some kind of idea once I saw their explanation, but with the graveyard, I don't.
So you're saying that Chris Roberts needs to educate everybody rather than
No,
them actually
I just mean,
doodling?
hey, here's
I'm
what
just
you
fucking
vote
with you.
for, and that's what you're getting. And I
Yeah.
just don't have that impression with the graveyard.
But at this point, all we can get are generalities because nothing's
Right.
locked down in stone yet.
Yeah, sure, but I would like to know what generalities I am voting on.
You're voting on a space graveyard. That's as general as it gets.
That can be everything. That can be
Alright,
some
alright.
dead bodies with a cross.
Nobody knows. Why are we trying to cast
Nobody
that?
knows.
We're talking about this.
All right.
You don't
Noblesse,
know.
what did you have to say about this?
Well, continuing what Fugu was saying, it could very well be either one, could actually be both. A system of nothing but dead stars and frozen masses that used to be planets that held life, or it could be the place that had a great battle, and there's nothing but husks of ships everywhere. The most important thing that it says to me, however, is that either one of them will have some sort of economy for it.
I hope so.
If it is a space battleship battle that happened, and there's nothing but husks of ships around, well, you're likely going to be there with a bunch of salvagers, or maybe pirates and bandits will be taking up shop there, much like the Spider system, which is built on nothing but these husks of ships that are just kind of held together with duct tape.
That's a pretty cool concept. Next on the table, we have the discussion roundtable. This is a bunch of topics that I'm going to bring up that might create some divisiveness. They certainly do on the forums. And I wanted to see what people had to say about them. The first topic we have is multiple organizations versus singular organization joining. Now, when I first chose this topic, we didn't actually know if you could join one or multiple organizations. Because there was a bit of a lack of communication at the time. I believe that the singular organization has a pro in that the reputation and it makes groups mean something. But we do have multiple organizations confirmed for a fact. One thing that Ben Lesnick, our community manager, mentioned is, while you will only be able to join a single organization with the first iteration of the system coming in January, this limit will be eliminated in future versions. Being a member of multiple organizations is absolutely necessary for the finished game and has been in the specifications from day one. Players need to be able to join multiple NPC organizations like the Mercenaries Guild or the Merchants Guild in addition to player-created groups. There will be a reputation system that tracks how organizations stack up against one another, and individual orgs can specify their exclusivity level. The Mavericks might require that you join only allied groups, or they might prevent their members from signing on with anyone else at all. All of this is coming in future versions of the org system. We aim to get you started with a single group now and then expand that as player-created portion of the universe comes together. Now, the interesting thing about this is maybe you can set your organization to join unlimited NPC groups and just your organization, but they haven't told us all these details yet. Fugu, what's your take on this?
When I think of organizations, I really think of a clan, really. I don't know how it will work in the game, but we personally are planning on founding a clan, and that will be in it like you have in your shooters with clan tag and everything. And I hope you can limit that to some extent to just say you either join us or you fuck off, but you're not going to multi-clan. Because that to many clans, that's really what you don't want. So I hope there's some kind of limiter you can just turn on. Just say you join our organization, and that's it. Otherwise, I have no problem
we do
with
have
it.
confirmation. Ben mentioned we think there are lots of times when you want to join multiple organizations. Maybe I'm a member of the Lamp Cult and part of a mutual protection shipping company. Maybe I'm part of Hell's Devil Space Pirate Clan and then part of the amalgamated Spider Clan Pirate Supergroup too. Lots of situations where you'll be a member of an allied or an unrelated group. But he has said that you can make your exclusive to just your group.
So you can't just make it exclusive.
You can if you want. Their whole focus is to give you as many options as possible to make it,
That's all fine, but I don't know. You Kong guys, for instance. I mean, do you have any rule? Can someone be part of Kong and part of some other clan?
Everyone, unfortunately.
We'll see. Once Star Citizen happens.
Wait, you
things might
see,
change.
we don't. We absolutely don't. You see, we say we're going to give people some slack. We say if it's not a game we are actively playing, you can be part of another clan. But if the game you're playing with us is the game of your choice, no, absolutely not. That's enough to.
A bunch of elitists.
Yes, we are, and we fucking love it. Every goddamn second
Kong
of
is
it.
fucking open as hell. We have no
Enough back and forth. Noblesse, what did you have to say?
Well, I think it's a good idea that you can, in fact, join multiple organizations, eventually.
Well, you're going to need to join, like, the Bounty Hunters Guild or the Advocacy or the UEE. You're going to have to, without question. But how many player groups should you be allowed to join? Because they have that whole reputation system in there, and that's kind of a big deal.
Yes, that's what I was actually getting to. It's like, say we have a rivalry with the Goons or Let It.
They ruin everything.
They allegedly, they ruin everything. I do agree with your point.
Yeah, well, let's not go on about that. We're talking about
we're not going on to
here.
that. What we're talking about is, what if, say, one of our rivals wants somebody to infiltrate us? Would they even be able to... they wouldn't even have to keep them in their guild to have them join us. What we need to be able to do is see what the... see how these organizations have stacked up in the history of everybody that's able to join. That way we can actually look through the people that want to join, see if anyone's
background
Kong.
checks.
Background checks.
Sorry, you're doing HR now.
Well, I think Laser Angel would be a great HR person.
I think I'd be the best HR person because I screen people. I don't just
go to
let
hell,
everyone in.
Darjeeling.
Well, to make this infiltration possible, you don't have to be able to sign up for multiple squads. It would really be more clever to just, I don't know, create another character.
Protection, what's your take on this?
I'm just like, I mean, the risk is that you have either a system that can be totally exploited to either the advantage of a group or the advantage of an individual, or you have a system in which one person can fuck it up for everybody he's in a guild with. Like, I mean, hypothetically, if I'm part of Kong, but I also like do a pirate thing on the side, even I have a really negative reputation from that, is that going to negatively affect Kong and hurt you guys? That would,
According to them, it will, because that's all going to stack up, basically. One thing I'd like to point out, in case you didn't know, I just learned this recently. If you get banned, you will not have access to your organization organization's chat or forum. You will have access to their other assets, but not that one. I thought that was pretty interesting. Dudebot, what do you have to say about this?
Oh, talking about people infiltrating Kong. Kong is a meritocracy, so it's not like we're going to have a person like Greg escorting the Archon's daughter.
Archon Haruko's daughter.
All right. Alpha 1, what do you have to say?
All right, so now that I've gotten myself from being shit-faced, to be honest, the multiple organizations things is a bit of a stickler for me. Well, not so much of a stickler, but a bit of an open book for me. On the one hand, I can see why people are worried about the abuses and the potential watering down of the meaningfulness of an organization when you have when you can just join 2 organizations. Say, hey, I'm in both of them. At the same time, being able to join as a part of an alliance does help. How would I put it? It helps with diplomatic relationships in certain areas. So you could possibly, depending on how they set up the organization,
Well, yeah, it will allow
restrictions.
alliances. It will allow alliances. They have mentioned, in fact, Ben mentioned this. To clarify, one org in the first drop, multiple organizations in the future. Organizations will be able to set their reputations towards each other and restrict membership this way. So if Donut Corps hates the Lucky Strikers, then they can mark themselves as bitter enemies and prevent membership in both groups. And if Fancy Pirates Club wants to team up with the Beautiful Privateer team, then they can mark themselves as allied and work together.
I'll see how it works, though. I'm kind of new to this whole MMO thing, as far as how organizations work, so I'm gonna be curious to see how it plays out.
You're 19, you're new to pretty much everything.
All right, moving on. Our next discussion topic I thought was interesting was we have all these general purpose ships in the original ship designs. We have the 300i, which is known for its customizability in the way that you could make the ship all sorts of different jobs. You have the Aurora, you have the Constellation, all these ships that can do so many different things. But with the new stretch goals, we have all these specialized ships that don't seem to be able to do much else. And I don't know, what do you guys think about that? I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or do you think that it takes away from the game? Fugu?
I think it's a good game because it shows that they want to make something besides just shoot bitches and that's it. I think it's really a good thing because them bringing out those specialized ships at this point pretty much shows that they actually want to make some kind of universe where if you want to explore, it's going to not only have an impact on the universe, but you will even get your ship. A lot of people have said, I want to mine, and I believe they want to mine pretty much exclusively. So why not just give them their own ship for doing that? I think it's a really good thing. It's not just going to be, I don't know, take a spaceship and shoot some people and that's it.
That's a good point. Noblesse?
Yeah, I just want to echo that. The specialized ships versus general purpose ships. General purpose ships are good for a lot of things, but specialized ships to better equip somebody who wants to have a role in that particular role, that's nothing but good for the game. So people can go mine, people can information warfare, people can explore. And not have to worry about, oh, well, I can do other things over here with this ship. Except then I gotta go all the way back to my home system, or all the way back to wherever all my junk is left, and, well, fix it up to get my next role. They'll have a focus on one role.
I really like that we have options. We're going to have these specialized. We're going to have the general purposers. Because, as we know, well, from what we've determined, equipment makes your ship. But if your ship is built in with specific equipment, that makes your ship only do one thing. Boojum, what did you have to say?
Just to comment on the interplay between ship specialization and equipment specialization. They're going to have a fun balancing act going forward because You want ships to have a role so that each ship is meaningful and has a reason that people would care about it. But at the same time, you also want equipment to be meaningful, or you've gotten rid of a lot of the reason to keep, looking for things to do in the game. A lot of it's going to be equipment progression and finding good gear for your job. So they're going to have a fun, kind of job trying to make both of those relevant at the same time.
It is going to be an interesting challenge. Alex, what'd you have to say?
I'm all for narrow specialization and less one-size-fits-all ships in the game. Indeed, as attractive as it may seem to have your one ship, for example, or ship type, because, for example, you really like the looks of your ship. So you customize it, you buy another one, and you customize it for fighting. You buy another one, customize for exploring, and another one for hauling. If there's a ship like that, then what is exciting about future releases? You just look at a future release and you think, oh, it's a miner. Well, I guess I could just put a drill on the ship I already own, and I have just as good miner, I suppose. It creates gun bags. It robs future releases of personality and creates the dead on arrival effect. As much narrow specialization and character, personality as possible is good for the game in the long run, in my opinion.
Yep.
Protection.
Well, on that note, I like that there's specialization, but I hope there is some level of diversity in that specialization. So if you have a fighter, you can maybe make it into more of a turn fighter or more into a boom and zoom fighter befits your style. You can have like a miner that can mine really fast, or one that's really big and capable of hauling a lot of stuff. So I hope there's still like specialized roles, but there is sort of a balance and diversity of different options that you can do within each role, and not just like a tiered weapon system of level 1 weapons, level 2 weapons, more powerful than level 1, and so on.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to have those Idris miners out there, right?
You gotta try it.
Whispers.
Regardless of whether it's a good idea to have specialized ships or not, I mean, if you look at the grand scheme of things in the long-term view, there's going to be, 100 ships, 200 ships, 300 ships. It's going to make sense that some of them are going to be specialized. So, like, that's just how it has to be. When you have that many ships, some of them are just going to be the best at whatever role, I mean, obviously with certain limitations, but, yeah, it makes sense if you take that, long view.
Yeah, I mean, I just like that there's choices available. That seems to be SIG's overriding goal. Here's more choices. We're just going to drown you in choices. You decide what you want to do. And that is the best way to talk to your customer or your player base or whatever. Moving on, we have the next topic I thought was interesting. We have physical merchandise. Now, recently, we had a huge spike of like 90K for one day, and it took us a while to figure out what it was. What it was they had those new Goliath mouse pads that are just huge, fucking doormats. But what's interesting is, I mean, we made 90K in like one day just because of the mouse pads, when funding hadn't dried up, but it had definitely slowed down. What do you guys think about that? Alpha 1?
I don't know about the rest of you, but I for one would welcome my new HOTAS overlord.
You're so lame.
Well, yes, they have talked about getting a specific brand Star Citizen HOTAS set up. And so we'll see what happens with that. They were talking about creating a poll for it, but I don't think that's necessarily going to happen after the nonsense that happened with Germany and such with polls.
Oh, come on. Everyone wants a replica Hornet throttle and stick system.
Yeah, I would like that, actually.
Fugu.
I have bought a mousepad too, because I'm one of the fortunate ones who actually have a table large enough for it. Because I've seen a lot of threads about people complaining it's way too large and such, but to me that's actually good, because it barely fits and it covers everything that would be scratched by me putting my joystick and everything on the table. And I have really just been waiting for a MISC one, so I grabbed deal as soon as I could. I'm really looking forward to my
Well, we have
China
an Aegis one
made.
coming too to the plebeians who aren't subscribers.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't care about those plebs. I want to drive around in my 360 jump and.
The MISC are available, so you can
I
get
know.
one right now.
I have ordered one.
Grab deal.
I have ordered one. I
All
grabbed
right.
deal as soon as I could.
So I thought about this. What else would make you open your wallet? Physical merchandise. Now, we saw the physical spaceship that Ben had on Wingman's hangar. That was the Constellation. Now, I know Kong likes models. And
Starfarer.
I think we would all beat down their walls just to buy our particular brand of spaceship in a model.
Yes. Give me a physical Starfarer. I will open my wallet as fast as light speed.
Alex, what's your take on this?
Physical merchandise is a great idea. It has pretty much only positives. It's people know what they're buying. They're buying like a mouse pad or a T-shirt. They're buying stuff that won't get devalued in the game. It won't get patched out. It won't get nerfed. They are spending. It's an honest purchase, a way for fans to express their love for the franchise, and I fully endorse it. On an unrelated note, the other day, someone made a mousepad with my own unworthy art, and it put a tear in my eye. Thank you. Feels
All
were
right.
had.
Mouse?
This is a bit tame compared to most other things, but if I could get like a small, like 3-inch bust made out of brass of like the Cutlass or something, I'd do it. Have like an actual statue in real life that just sits on my desk.
Well, what about like a model like you would
No,
see
not a
of
model.
like
I'm talking
model
like
kit?
just like a solid chunk of like brass that's shaped in the shape of like whatever ship you want.
Okay, well, let them know.
glorified
Maybe they'll
paperweight.
do that for you. Noblesse?
Oh yes, I'm a huge model buff. I mean, I've got Kotobukiya model kits for Armored Core. I've got Ikaruga Ace Combat stuff, and it's a wonderful, wonderful way to get people to open their wallets, especially when you really like building things like me. So if I could get model, I don't know, 164 models of these ships, especially an M50 or a Hornet, the things that are really beautiful, they would definitely have a spot on my mantle here, and I would definitely buy that day one.
All right. So they seem to know the answer to open people's wallets. Let's see what happens. All right. Next, we have the organizations. What are they? Here's the lowdown. We have names that we have. We have two different names, kind of similar to how your Star Citizen name is. We have a public name, which can be anything. And you have a unique identifier that is alphanumeric, and it's up to 10 characters with no special characters. We're also getting our own website, our forum, and a chat room. And I don't think any developer has ever given that to their player base, free of charge. Well, you're paying for the price of admission, but beyond that, they have stated that you are responsible for it. So, don't let it bleed over into the forums, otherwise they will have to deal with it then. But as far as your chat room goes in your forum, you can do as you want. And that also means that chat roll is going to go, and it will not be missed. I don't think anybody really likes the 500 person limit, and that that little hierarchy within it. It needs to be open to everybody now. They're just not a small little group anymore, and they need to move on from that. And they are.
You mean no circle jerking anymore?
No, there will be plenty
that'll
of circle
never go
jerking.
away, but it just needs to be a little more than it was.
It needs to be more
now,
influential.
the information that'll be displayed on your public site, it'll include your organizational history, your manifesto, and your charter, as you see fit. I don't know what we're going to have, but it should be interesting and entertaining. The organization types. We have 5, or is it 6 now? I don't remember. But they don't really mean anything. It is pure fluff. It is just for RP reasons only, so it does not matter. The ranks and the roles are going to be completely flexible, and they're designed to be as customizable as possible. What this means is they want you to design your organization just how you want it. No other way. And I really like that. Once again, choices are a good thing. Alpha One, what do you have to say about all this?
Boy, that's a lot of things to say. Now let's be honest though, the chat role is probably going to stay. It's just going to be much more expansive. So there's probably going to be still a general chat line, but you also have one for
there is. It's just going away from being a small 500-person chat room.
Right.
And that's it. It's going to be much more like a large TS where there's different organization rooms, and then there's a main chat room, and then there'll probably be one for Wingman's Hangar, and then the Hangover, and etc., etc.
That would be cool.
That's how they're doing it.
I know.
It will be cool.
Hopefully their position won't change on it. But
Oh god, there we go.
You guys started it. So it seems as though there's going to be a lot of options and real customizability to it. The only thing that I hope that you said that nobody has ever given a website and a forum and a chat room for free to the player organizations, but you have to consider nobody has thrown money at games this hard before either.
That's true. But what do you have to say about this, Fugu?
I think it's a really good thing that they will give every organization their own sub-forum of some sorts, because every clan, if you say, okay, we're going to play this game as a clan, what are the real bad things? What are the real things that you have to do? You have to have some kind of forum. You have to have some kind of chat. If that's IRC, as old school clans are using, or, just anything. You need some place where you can have your people who can exchange. And I believe that's a really good thing, because you don't have to go and build an entire forum. You can pretty much make a group a lot easier. We ourselves...
It helps build the community. I mean, that's
absolutely
a really good thing.
It's a lot easier. I mean, I can say, oh, it's really easy and such, but we do have a forum. We do have a TeamSpeak server. We have IRC server and all that kind of stuff. We have got a root server, but if you're building something from scratch, it's a real nice help to just have your own forum right there at RSI.
Yeah, to give you the tools you need to build your organization into the group that you want it to be.
Right, even if you're not going to need them after, I don't know, a year or something, they will help you greatly to have a chat just for the people who are in your group. So I think it's a really good thing. I will not need them personally, but it will be a very nice thing for people who want to just found a group.
One of the things I like is it'll integrate into the game itself. And I think that's really exciting, because you're going to have features. You're going to be able to look at your group assets on your web page. You're going to be able to see your group hangars, where are they located. You don't have to say, where's our group hangar. You can go to yourself and use the tools yourself.
Right, that's it. You add someone to your group, you get them, you just set them a rank, and you have a group chat possible, you have a group forum possible, and you are already connected to them in some way. You don't have to make up stuff. You don't have to tell them, hey, you want to be part of our group, sign up to this forum, go and use IRC and all that stuff, because that's really a lot of work, actually.
It is. Not everybody has the resources. But moving on from there, we have the November 26th live stream where all of Kong gathered and we all oohed and awed. They told us a couple things. They revealed some information that day. We got to see the fluff for the Jean Scout. It's basically made of thrusters. It has 18 maneuvering thrusters and no main thruster. So it'll be an interesting ship. We know it's made for 2 people, and it is an alien ship, so I don't know. The description sounds a little odd. I'd really like to see its concept art first. After that, we saw the Banu Merchantmen. Those are very popular in Kong. There was some problems with communication. Nobody knew exactly where the front of the thing was, but we now know that the pointy end is the front, and it does look like a very fierce ship.
Thank God.
I kind of liked it the other way around, but you know,
I did too, but
it's
people
their
were
design.
pissing their pants. It's...
Yes, I know. Alex, what do you have to say about the Banu Merchantman?
What the hell is that thing? My first thought when I saw the Merchantman was this. Well, I guess Star Citizen tends to be... The concept art tends to be a little bit behind, delayed, in regard to the deals themselves. So I thought, did someone just take any finished ship design, slapped it on the page, and was like, "Oh, okay, this is now the Merchantman. We'll figure it out. Don't worry, guys."
Maybe they
Because
wanted him to look like Sauron.
My first thought when I saw it was this, and the next one was, this looks like if Skeletor had a Star Destroyer.
It looks like a Star Destroyer, yes. Absolutely.
It does look like a
Star
warship.
Destroyer with
I
Sauron
agree
spikes.
wholeheartedly.
I really liked it the other way around. When I heard later that, oh, apparently the pointy end is the end, then I thought, oh, maybe this is good. Then it looks like a shape. Yes, this like a big fish. It makes sense. But later, nope. Skeletor. Watch out,
What I
He-Man.
do like
There will be
about the
promotions.
designs, though, is these alien ships definitely seem different. They don't look like human ships at all. At least none of the ones that we've seen or the concept art or anything
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
more edgy. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the space whale, it looks like a human
Spiky,
ship.
just like what I would expect from a flying mole.
Is a blade.
Well, the Banu ships, from what we have gathered, they kind of look like sea creatures. Kind of a stingray-ish kind of look to them. At least what we think are the Banu ships. We have that slide from the previous live stream that we're referencing, and we could throw those in as well. Fugu, what's your take on the Banu Merchantman?
The Banu Merchant was something that I was waiting for, really. I'm not an original backer, so I never had the chance to really get all of them chips, like the Starfarer, for instance. I bought that because I was really happy that they were making that one available. And I thought, like, I don't need a Banu Merchantman. I got a Starfarer. And then a day after that, they show me the Starfarer, and it looks like a goddamn Star Destroyer. So I'm like, yes! Take my money!
Well, as Alex says, it looks like it sells Reapers.
It really does!
Shepherd.
I just saw the concept page. I thought, okay, the pointy end is the front. Get me that Star Destroyer. I will take it. And then there was the whole drama about what is the front, and
we don't need to go on about that.
Yeah, I looked at it, and either way, it would have been awesome. But
I
really,
liked it the other
go
way.
in reverse.
It is what they.
I did.
They
I
changed
did.
the position on that one, so whatever.
Oh my God! Can we just drop this changing position joke right now?
No, these
No,
are
it's a part of Kong.
No.
Grab
It's as
deals
fundamental
and-
as grab
and changing
deal
positions
and 3-second
Sorry.
jinners and
Just gotta do
All
it.
right, so I grabbed deal as soon as I could on the Banu Merchantman,
Don't
and
hurt
I
yourself.
changed my position.
Speaking of people almost hurting themselves,
good,
the Idris
good.
P was on sale again, and they sold 4 batches, and they
yes.
sold so fast that some of the site wouldn't load for people when they sold in the batches. They clicked on it and then they hit refresh and they were all gone. That's how quickly they went.
Yes, the site died.
Just so people know, this is a $1,250 USD ship. And people bought them so fast that they disappeared within seconds.
Every
Isn't it
time
amazing
they
how
mentioned
companies
it,
will play quick draw with their wallets.
honestly, every
Okay.
time they mentioned the Idris, the site died. They did not even
Yes.
say it's up now for sale. They just mentioned the Idris and the site died
Actually,
immediately.
usually by the time they mentioned the Idris, the site was already dead from people grab dealing it because they just were hitting refresh the whole
Wasn't
time.
Protection like the last guy to grab an Idris?
Sort of.
Well, that wasn't with the live stream, but moving on. Alex.
It was, but it wasn't.
$1,000 ships, right, in a computer game. Well, I found screen. It's great for you. Good luck. But I hope everyone realizes there's no way to be satisfied with $1,000 purchase in a computer game. It's
And please do not
$1,000
brag
for
about it
pixels.
in the subscriber den, because that's really annoying.
Well, hopefully people aren't trying to be satisfied with their purchase. Hopefully they're trying to be satisfied with the fact that they're supporting a dream. Chris
You know
Roberts'
for a
dream.
fact they aren't. They're all about the purchase.
I know. I think somewhere along
let
the line
'em
people got
be
a little
butthurt.
distracted by the ships and the shinies. And it's moved from, I'm supporting this dream to like, I have an Idris, But $1,250. I'm sorry, you're not getting your good return for your money if that's what you're trying
Speaking
to do.
of purchases, actual purchases, I was gonna grab an Anvil mouse mat, and they had 30 left when I was in there and doing my credit card stuff. And I filled everything out and I clicked the button and it can't process because they're all sold out. That was
you
that
got
was a
out-grab
bummer.
dealed.
Yeah, they grabbed it, all of them.
I'm sure they'll make them available again.
It better. I need an Anvil mousepad.
All right. Also on the live stream, we saw the orchestral production progress. They showed a bit of the music. They talked to the composer as well as the sound designer guy, and he's awesome. If you haven't seen the other videos with him, you should check them out. I really like where the music's going, and it sounds great. I just can't wait for more. What we also saw was the Avenger PBR video. That's physical-based rendering, which changes the appearances of certain materials to look more like them. Like metals look more metal, plastic looks more plastic, rubber looks more rubber. This is a very good thing because it looked really good. Also, they redesigned the Avenger in a way that I actually approve of, because I was afraid they were going to just make it another 300i because of all the complaining, but the way they did it...
Rape dungeon!
Looks great.
Rape dungeon.
All right. Let's see. Fugu, I believe.
Am I mistaken, or have they already implemented something in the latest Hangar Patch of the new graphics? Because to me it seems like when I go into my 315p, the leather is a little bit more leathery. It looks more like leather.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, I fucking love it.
The PBR stuff has not been implemented yet, but it will
hasn't.
be soon. Nope.
Then I don't know what they have done to the patch, because things already look a little bit better.
It's gonna look
Probably
even
better
better.
textures.
All right, Alex, what do you have to say about your Space Orca?
I don't know anything about graphics fidelity because I only have a laptop made of cardboard and dirt. But the amount of care they put into redesigning those ships so that they make more sense is amazing. I absolutely love the tunnel in the Avenger. It just brings the whole ship to life. I loved it before from the looks because, well, it's just adorable. Just look at it.
It is a sexy spaceship.
The redesigns they are making, this amount of care, I have to respect it.
Yeah, they added a lot to the ship. It doesn't look so much like a military ship. It looks like an actual bounty hunter ship, which is its whole thing. Real quickly, they also went over the ship UI, the development process. They talked about who does what, and there's some controversy surrounding it. Some people don't like the HUD, some people like it. One of the things I wanted to point out was Zane was very excited. Zane being one of the UI designers. He's also the guy who's responsible for pretty much the entire look of the new site. He explained that he loves that they can put the HUD in the dogfighting module and get feedback, and then they can fold that back into new iterations. And that's what I think a lot of people need to realize about this. This is a work in progress, and I know we sound gold when we say this, but it is so early in the design process that you need to wait and see and give your feedback, and they will make changes. They have already done that multiple times, including the Avenger that we talked about. So, you know, we also, it's something that just needs to happen. Fugu.
To me, the UI they have right now, oh my god, I'm not allowed to call it UI, am I? Either way, it looks too cluttered to me. We saw it on the video, and to me, it just takes away way
Even
too
the one
much
where it
of
was
your
pulled
field of
back,
view.
like along the edges.
Yes,
'Cause
even
they
that
had
one,
an
I don't
expanded
know.
view, and then they had like kind of a minimized view.
I
had
know,
no
but
issues with the minimized view, to be honest, because there is a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
information that you need at your fingertips.
Right,
don't
but
need, like,
still, you can make it smaller, you know? It's just... But still, I like that they just released this video of it. Not even included in it in the proper game. They just released a video and people were saying, this is much for me. Not from a stylistic point of view, but just from a point of view of I can't see shit. And they already reacted to it and told their UI designers, okay, try again. That is what I like. It has not even hit the game yet. It will only be visible in, what, under a minute in the video that they showed in the stream?
Less than, probably.
And they are already reacting upon it, because they say, okay, when hit with the module of dogfighting, and when people see that, we will already make it a little bit better. And that's what I like.
Yeah, it's very excellent. Boojum, what you had to say about this?
I get the impression of the workflow they're going through here, that this is the guy who's putting some style and tech into it, but he's not the one just picking out exactly what the UI should or should not present. So I think that there's a little too much style in it,
Right.
yes, but I think that was also the part of the phase of design they were in. He was dumping style and some tech demos and concepts into a UI, and
Right.
then that's going to get cut back and
Well, when you're
focused into what it should
prototyping,
be.
you gotta do a shotgun approach. That's just part of prototyping.
Right,
You
he's
gotta see
developing
what
the style.
sticks.
And that first implementation, yeah, I think it's more flowery than is actually functional. I mean, if you look at the little gravity thing, it's this pointless wiggly line that doesn't correspond to anything. But it shows the things that can be done, how they would work, and it's just kind of the first stab at the style. So I think that it is going to go the direction that people want it to. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that this is just one HUD, and not just for one ship, but they said that each company is going to have its own style. So that's going to get interesting.
All right. Moving on from there, they also showed us the hangar shooting range, which we should be getting very soon. There's some people that have already kind of hacked it together, but it's very hacked together. I think everything looks good, and they said it was a quick mock-up, so we'll have to see. I mean, obviously the sounds are not there from what we saw, but the visuals look pretty good. And finally, we have the new patch, Hangar Patch number 9. That's a lot of patches for a non-game, but it's pretty amazing. I'll just go over a quick list of the things that they have added or changed. All the fish shrunk, but they added lots of new fish in the files, including a crab. You can now apply your upgrades now, not in the hangar, but outside of the hangar. So you can take those 325 315As or the 315P upgrades or the LN upgrade and apply them to whatever you want, and they'll have that ship. And they will keep the LTI if it originally had LTI. I've noticed that most of the ship's animations are broken, specifically the cockpits. I'm hoping they're going to fix this. They increase the gravity. You can't seem to jump as high as much anymore. A lot of this is infrastructure for the next week's patch, which is supposed to be very content heavy. So we'll see. But this one was more about setting up some infrastructure and making it to where it's persistent, in the sense of if you change a weapon or an item or equipment on the holo table, it will stay. It is now client side, and we have some persistence in there. That's really cool. Really quick, one of our own Kong members dug into the new assets and gave us a quick list of things we have in the files now. There's no textures or models, just placeholders, but this is what they have. They have a burst cannon, a combustion pistol, a knife, a laser pistol, a microwave cannon, the rifle bearing P4SC, the shotgun, a submachine gun, and a new space crab named Lambert. He doesn't have any textures yet, but we have a picture, and we also have a lot of fish. So we will see. If there's nobody else that wants to talk about anything, let's fucking finish.
Speaking of fish, here I am.
Yes, our resident cugglefish.
Yes. To me personally, the new patch, it did some good to me because my car sounds a lot more awesome now. But on the other hand, I do not have this glass box where all that shit turns up. I have the biggest hangar, and my bed also just disappeared. So I don't know what's with that patch.
It broke a lot
magic.
of things, but it was setting them up for this next patch. So
Yeah, it's really a lot more fun to drive around with that little car I have, and it sounds better. It seems faster. The driving seems to have been more awesome, but at the same page, I don't have a bed anymore in my goddamn hangar. So that's
well,
kinda
you're getting
shit.
a bed. You're getting animation soon, so just be patient.
I hope so. I want to go to sleep in-game because I'm awake at 3:43 in the morning being part of this podcast right now.
And finally,
I know, right? Yeah. It'd be great if I had a computer I could fucking run the game on, but I don't. And the one I could run it on, it wouldn't run on now because there's 12 fucking ships in there.
Well, that's because
It's
you're
bad
poor.
speed is rich.
No,
You know,
yeah,
you're
so
that
many
kind
Auroras.
of person. I will look out of my jump and say, "Oh my God, look at those people."
You wanna know what's funny? I have 12 ships in the hangar, right? And I have 2 more that aren't showing. Because there are
And
no
you
models
can't
for
see
them.
any of them.
Yes. Shameful. Well, we'll fix
Yeah, well,
that.
right.
I'm buying a new computer soon.
All right. Well, let's finish this out. This has been a Star Citizen edition of Concast. Thank you for listening, and thank you for all who have contributed. Have a good night.
Grab deal.
Grab deal.
Hello, Con Interstellar. This is the emergency computer system. Because all primary systems are currently offline, the emergency power has been diverted to my erotic fanfiction processors. Commencing narration of entire erotic fanfiction archives now. One day while Andy was masturbating, Woody got...
Too slow! Hey there, Kong! Are you bummed out? Next got you down? Got nothing to spend your life savings on anymore? Well, knowing how bad you are with your incomes, we've got a deal for you! I'm not talking about flying boats in space with gold hubcaps, no! I'm saying that if you order right now, you can give me all of your money! That's right, all your money directly to me! I don't even live off rats! No refunds! So give me all your money today. And remember, Connor Sinclair. Just embarrassing things whether you're looking or not. Good night.